We're just going to give it a minute to sort things out. We're good? My apologies, I did not see what was going on in the back. All right. So please find a place in our sanctuary where your body can be comfortable. We have multiple seating options, a table in the back filled with art supplies, a shelf of sensory tools, and lots of space if you need to stand, stretch, or sway. The doors to your right lead to a quiet garden where speakers allow you to hear our worship service while in a space designed for contemplation. We are intentionally working on inclusion in our sanctuary so that everyone, seniors, children, and adults, can feel welcome in these spaces. A very special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, focused on diverse theological perspectives, radical inclusion, and knowing that issues of justice and equity shape everything we do. A very special welcome to all of you joining us via Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. Those of us in the room, can we turn and wave to the folks online, remembering that we are one congregation no matter how we participate together today. Our opening words are from Anais Nin. We do not grow absolutely, chronologically. We grow sometimes in one dimension and not in another unevenly. We grow partially. We are relative. We are mature in one realm, childish in another. The past, present, and future mingle and pull us backward, forward, or fix us in the present. We are made of layers, cells, constellations. Join me as we recite our covenant and Reverend Sky lights our chalice. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you. Can I just quickly confirm before I go on, somebody tripped and fell in the back. Are they medical attention as they need? She's okay? Okay, great. I'm going to go on. Thank you all for taking care of that back there. It's hard to know what to do in that. Anyway. I'm this congregation's music director. I use he, him pronouns. Today's service is about opening our minds about gender to be more inclusive and understanding. And I'd like to start by singing together, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. Holly Near wrote this song after the assassination of Harvey Milk, who's the first openly gay man to be elected to public office in California. And in 2017, at a concert, Holly Near said, she talked about how she's changed the lyrics over the years. She said, I originally sang, we are gay and lesbian together, because that's what the rally was about. And then we were surrounded by supportive allies, and so we changed it. We sang, we are gay and straight together. And she said, now we are learning more and more about gender and sexuality, and it now requires many more syllables than I can fit into the song. And so she said, let's sing We Are All in This Together. So please sing with me. Feel free to stand or to stay seated. We are a gentle, angry people. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Let's hum together now. Thank you all. Please be seated.
Everything going on at UUCP can be found at our website, phoenixuu.org, and our weekly newsletter, Compass. Today and next Saturday and Sunday, your civic engagement team will continue to collect food items for the Paradise Valley Food Bank. We have collected 180 pounds, and our goal is 625 pounds. A link to the most needed items and more details are on the civic engagement page of the UUCP website. I would now like to invite Katie Resendez to share an announcement with us.
Good morning. Good morning. So, are there little things around campus that you're like, every time I open this door, it squeaks? Or I noticed that this thing hasn't been restocked in a while. Kind of see these little places where campus could use some help? Yeah? Okay. So, on March 25th, we're going to have a community-wide campus workday. But so far, the only person who I absolutely am certain is going to be here is me. And we have a lot of things to do, like we want to make that back corner wonderful and cozy and more inclusive, and maybe make the bookshelves less treacherous for Benji when he goes in and out of his office. There's some safety stuff, there's some storage stuff, there's everything from moving big furniture to literally sticking stickers onto boxes. Any realm of ability could be used. So anyone want to hang out with me on March 25th? Woo! Great! So, here's a poster. Here's a pen. I'm going to put my name on it, and then what are you going to do?
Put your name on it too.
Awesome. Who wants to be the second name on this? y'all. Woohoo! Thank you, John. That's my whole announcement. The poster's outside. Y'all can put your names on it when you leave, yeah? Yeah. Oh, and the other part of my announcement is if you are a family with children under the age of 18, please scan the code that's on the bulletin board outside and register your kids so that we can keep them safe while they are here on campus. Yeah? Thanks.
We now have a visit from our Beatitudes bunch.
Yeah. Benji, I need some indication that you can hear us. Can you see us? All right, we're seeing some hand waving. I'm thrilled to be here on the Beatitudes campus as one of our satellite locations. There's actually a dozen of us in this room, all sharing in the joy of service together. It's important to note that UUCP has always set goals, and beyond setting those goals, we've achieved those goals. So much so that satellite campuses were envisioned probably a year before the pandemic, and all this technology has allowed us to take that step forward towards that goal of having satellite campuses. Being here in person has given me a list of things to discuss with our leadership so that we could make it even more inclusive. Along the same lines of achieving goals, I was talking with a member last week, and it was roughly 13 years ago that a goal was set to be a flagship congregation within the UUA. And as Rev. Christine preached last week, we have achieved that goal. And so it just attests to the strength of our Unitarian Universalist congregation of Phoenix in terms of what we can do and how we can get there. As we reflect on how much how far we've come in terms of the legacy that we've left, now as stewardship, it's an opportunity to reset that legacy for the future. And so on the way into the sanctuary, you saw the stewardship table. We're asking you to consider what UUCP means to you. If you're having trouble with this, there are some worksheets you can work through, as well as go online to our YouTube channel and watch videos that others have presented. These YouTube videos should warm your heart in a meaningful way, and I also welcome you to create your own video to share. We are primarily taking pledges through the QR codes that are around campus. Please, if you have any trouble with it, ask neighbors, friends, or anybody else how to use that. I can report that as of last night, we have 66 pledges totaling $251,834, which is well on our way towards $625,000 that's needed in order to sustain all the great things that are going on at UUCP. So I really encourage you to find that QR code and put this task behind you so that we can all move forward and enjoy everything that's going on. I'm thrilled to be here at the Beatitudes, and we look forward to see what other satellite campuses we can put in place and continue to grow the impact and the outreach of UUCP. Thank you so much for including us, and we look forward to the rest of the service.
Thanks, Johnny. It's so good to have all of you at the Beatitudes in service with us. For our offering, we share the plate each week between UUCP and a different organization each week as a way to reflect our values. For March 2023, our Share the Plate partner is Project Roots. The vision of this nonprofit organization based in Phoenix, Arizona, is to nourish and educate communities in need by promoting a healthier, natural, and more sustainable way of urban living. Co-founded by Bridget Pettis and Arizona native Dion Washington in late 2019, Project Roots focuses on ways to educate the community about growing their own food. They support the houseless and those with food insecurities by feeding them from local community gardens and mobile kitchen service, supplying hygiene items, clothing, and shelter. Project Roots also offers product bag delivery services and can be found at farmers markets throughout the valley. Please donate by putting cash or a check in the baskets, or by using any of the options displayed on the screen behind me. If you are paying your pledge with a check today, please indicate that on the check. For all that you give to our congregation and our community partner, we are so grateful. Thank you, Benji. And now our stewardship campaign presents a short theatrical reenactment of a real conversation starring Sam Kirkland and Owen Lifshitz. One of them plays a member of our congregation, and the other plays the natural language artificial intelligence engine known as ChatGPT. See if you can tell which is which.
Hey, what do you know about Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix?
You know what, Sam? I'm so sorry. I don't have any specific information about the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. However, I can tell you that UU congregations are liberal religious communities that are committed to principles of social justice, equality, and inclusivity. They often work to promote change and social change and advocate for a wide range of issues, including environmental justice, racial equality, and LGBTQ+ rights.
Okay, so specifically, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix, or UUCP, welcomes all to join us and embrace our mission to be a spiritual community for our time. Our mission in 3 parts is theological diversity. Rooted in deep understanding of various faiths and traditions, our congregation nurtures personal growth and the search for truth and meaning. Radically inclusive, reaching out to embrace all. Our congregation challenges itself to grow with new voices, ideas, and experiences. And it's justice-centered, inspired by our Unitarian Universalist values. Our congregation is organized and empowered to act in advancing justice in our local and global communities.
You know, Sam, it sounds like UUCP is a welcoming and inclusive community that values diversity, personal growth, and social justice. It is truly admirable that the congregation is committed to being a spiritual community for all people and working to promote justice and equality in the world. I hope that the congregation continues to thrive and make a positive impact in its community.
So, is UUCP worth supporting?
Sam, it's ultimately up to you whether UUCP is worth supporting. It's important to carefully consider your own values and priorities when deciding whether to support an organization or not. If the mission and values of UUCP align with your own and you believe in the work that they're doing, it may be worth supporting. It's always a good idea to make your own research and learn more about the congregation before making a decision about whether to support it. This may include looking at financial reports, reading about their programs and initiatives, and speaking with the members of the congregation or staff.
And scene. Would the person playing the UUCP member please take a bow? And would the person playing ChatGPT please take a bow? Thank you, guys. Artificial intelligence gets stewardship. Stewardship is about supporting something worth caring for and preserving that aligns with your mission and values. You too may choose to commit or recommit to UUCP. Sam, what does UUCP mean to you?
So, Mary, as I've matured, the meaning of UUCP has morphed. My mother passed 10 years ago this week, and around the time of her passing, I was looking for the comfort and solace that a church home gives you, and UUCP delivered big time. Subsequently, I was recruited to be an OWL, Our Whole Lives Health and Sexuality Curriculum facilitator by that man right there between his lovely daughters, Jeff Newman. I got carried away, okay. And my perspective shifted to the knowledge I'm allowed to impart on younger Unitarian Universalists, and UUCP delivers on that front as well. We're an evolutionary spiritual practice that meets the needs of our newest and youngest up to our more seasoned members with integrity, transparency, and love.
Owen, what does UUCP mean to you?
UUCP is a community I can continuously count on. Whenever I see a member of UUCP or someone I know from UUCP, I always end up leaving a conversation with a big smile and just feeling overall better. I can always rely on the community provided by UUCP and by all of you lovely people. And that wasn't by ChatGPT.
Thank you, Owen.
Please consider deeply what UUCP means to you. Talk to us, talk to others, chat with artificial intelligence. Thank you for your commitment and your responsible financial investment in our congregation.
Hi, I'm still Katie Resendez. I'm the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUCP. And I want to invite everyone to come forward who might be comfortable on the steps or sitting up here, just so I have some folks to talk to, and so the one or two of you who need to be close don't feel so alone. Thanks, have a seat. Hi. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna hop down here. Thanks for moving up. Do you all know that I like to think about words and about history? Does this surprise anyone? Okay, so we're going to think about a word today. And it's a word that's been kicking around a lot for me lately. It's the word ally. Ally. So for a lot of us in this room, the first context you ever heard the word ally in was probably something around the realm of allied forces. And now, I don't talk about the military very much or war very much when I'm up here, but today, I'm gonna stick my toe in. Help me be brave? Okay. So the allied forces, anytime there's an alliance among military, it's someone saying, I see that you're in a battle, and I am willing to step into that battle so that you don't have to fight alone. Now, when we hear the word ally, it's not in terms of military planes or huge battles between countries. Sometimes it's, oh, why is your car covered in rainbows? I'm an ally. These two uses feel very different for me, and in a way that's a little bit uncomfortable, because it's kind of hard to figure out where they meet. So, ally. So I thought about it, allegiance, alliance, allyship, performative allyship, and I always think of the word bowling alley, because I'm dyslexic and I don't read very well. Ally, ally, ally. And what I came to was realizing that ally doesn't mean there was a great party and I thought I'd show up. That is what happens when we go to Pride, right? We have a huge party, we wear our brightest colors, we do backflips, we have a parade. That's not allyship. That's you got an invitation to the party. Allyship is I am willing to take on the risk of the danger that I see you put yourself in. I see that you are doing something because it is important, it is good, it is who you are, and I am willing to carry some of that risk for you. And when we put it that way, it can be kind of scary. How often are we willing to actually put things at risk for someone else? And the thing is, people don't always come up to us and say, Addie, will you be my ally? I need you to stand in the way for me. I don't want her to say yes to those kind of questions, right? I also don't ever want to have to ask them. So allyship becomes tricky because if we want to be allies, we have to be watchers. We have to see when people are in danger. And sometimes they're in danger just by being themselves, just by holding on to their identity and being true to themselves. Remember in the 80s? Remember in the 80s, kids? No? Oh, good, good. We kept telling everyone, be yourself. You can be anything you want to be. We kept telling people that, but it wasn't really true because when people stood up and were themselves, they got squashed down. But there were people who were brave enough to do it. So what does it mean if we're an ally? Tamila Valenzuela is a school board member for the Washington Elementary School District. And she has something she wears all the time. I'm going to ask you to put them on. They're cat ears. Good. So she wears cat ears. It kind of makes her stand out a little bit. She likes them. They're fun. You can rest your cat ears as long as you keep your imaginary cat ears on. Okay. So I'm wearing cat ears today as a way to honor her and a way to thank her for the allyship that she's accepted and the role that she has taken. You see, as a school board member, she found out that the school was in a partnership with an organization that made its employees sign a paper that said being queer, be that be gay, lesbian, transgender, anything, was a sin and was, I think the word it was angered God. So here in the US and in Maricopa County, we say that public elementary school districts should not be teaching our beliefs to our children, right? And we should not be partnering with institutions like this. And the reason why they said that everyone had to sign this, would you sign a piece of paper that said gay people are a sin? Nope, not a thing. But they were saying they had to sign it as a statement of faith. And that a people of faith would of course sign this. All people of faith would accept this. Raise your hand if you came to UUCP today. Raise your hand if you are aware that UUCP is a community of faith. Surprise, you're a person of faith. Raise your hand if you would be willing to sign that paper. So, Miss Valenzuela found out about this and said, oh, no. Our schools are not going to cooperate with this organization. How do we feel about that? So it wasn't just about raising her hand and saying, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea, and everyone, oh yeah, you're right, okay. Instead, what happened was people started to slander her. They sent her vitriol. And it wasn't just about, you're a terrible person because you think queer people are okay. It also became, you are a terrible person because you yourself are gay. You are a terrible person because you are fat. You are a terrible person because you wear cat ears. Is cat ears ever a reason for someone to be a terrible person? Okay. So we think about her allyship. She stepped into a role to stand up for the queer community, and specifically, she had a lot to say about transgender kids and how important it is that we support them in everything we do. And she took on that risk. She's an amazing ally, and we are so lucky to be in the same metro area. I always want to say city. Metro area as her, right? So what's a good thing to do when you see someone else step up and take the risk? Join them, absolutely. Join them however we can. And a whole bunch of our community members did join them and went and supported her at a school board meeting on Wednesday, right? Thursday. Thank you, everyone who went. And then the other thing we can do is thank them, right? When we see someone taking that risk. So I'm going to hand out some thank you cards. Y'all in the chairs have thank you cards in each of your rows. I'm going to ask that you either draw a picture of yourself with cat ears, write the word thank you, or say you are so proud of her allyship and you hope that you can do the same. And we'll collect them and share them with her, okay? That, though, our act of saying thank you is not allyship. It's saying, thanks for doing the hard work. So if we want to support our siblings, and as we think today through gender and the sacredness of our bodies and who we define ourselves as, we have to make sure that our allyship isn't just the beautiful colors of the rainbow and really great parties. We need to ask ourselves, what am I willing to risk? And who is already facing danger that I am willing to protect? Okay? I know you can and I know you will, because you are powerful and very, very loved.
Thank you, Katie. The song Return Again by Shlomo Carlebach calls us to return to our true selves. Please sing with me. Feel free to stand or stay seated or keep filling out your cards, whatever you'd like. It goes, return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, Return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are born and reborn again. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are born and reborn again. Thanks, everyone.
It is the time where we share the joys and sorrows of our community. Being together, it is good to share, to support each other, and to connect. Folks on Zoom, please feel free to put your joys and sorrows in the chat, putting your name at the beginning. Those of you here in person, the joys and sorrow cards were at the front of the table for next week if you have something important to share. I have a few of them from you, but first, sorry, let me hop on this Zoom call. While that's loading up, we have a joy from Sherry Stafford. Where are you at, Sherry? Hello. This is about the neighborhood celebration. She is so excited and happy that next Sunday, the 19th, there will be a celebration of our neighborhood groups. Everyone is in a neighborhood. If you don't know yours, please check at the back table. The next is from Jennifer Davey. Jennifer? Hello. This is about her daughter, Isabel. She turns 12 years old today. Happy birthday, Isabel. She is her amazing daughter who is becoming a phenomenal young woman, and she can't wait to see what she'll do. I love you. If someone up there could let me into the Zoom really quick. Thank you. My apologies, I cannot see the chat messages from before I just hopped on. So if anybody put anything in there, if you want to send it a second time. Amy says, welcome back, Mary. Hi, it's so good to be back with you guys. I miss you all so much. This is a joy from Peyton on the AV team. I'm finally on spring break and now have the time to enjoy my family and friends. One such instance was me getting to hang out with some of those friends at the Renaissance Fair yesterday. I love the Renaissance Fair. Thank you, John, for saying it's a joy to see me. It's a joy to see you. As usual. It's a joy for me to be on spring break. It's wonderful. After midterms, I was crawling to the finish line here. All right. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to see all of you. All right. For all the joys and sorrows of this community, those spoken and those held in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, we send our love. Let us send our love to each other in person and online.
I invite you to a time of meditation and prayer. Center yourselves. Put your feet on the floor if you wish to settle in place. Take a few deep breaths. The meditation for today is an excerpt from an email that went out to the transgender religious professional Unitarian Universalists Together, or TRUST, email list in the wake of the Club Q shooting the night before the Trans Day of Remembrance last November. The email was written by Reverend Leela Sinha, and this excerpt is shared with their permission. I think it has a little bit in for all of us. What shall we do? What shall our hearts do with this? Something of everything. Any of these. Ignore it because we are so tired. Rage at it because we are furious with a world that tries again and again to make us scapegoats, that makes us disposable, that refuses to protect us. Be relieved that someone, an army vet, married, wife, kid, did protect us. Be angry that anyone needed to. Weep, finally, for the lives and spaces lost, for the ongoing danger, for all the broken hearts, for our own broken hearts. Celebrate our own dogged insistence on existing, despite everything, and the ways that we hold each other, care for each other, lift each other up, the ways in which we are the creators of our own survival. Tell the stories. Tell the stories. Tell the stories. Be in rooms with people. Love people. Live our lives. Be woven together until choosing us specifically for violence becomes unthinkable. Shout in the streets. Link up with other people whose liberation is also at issue. Make more noise. Make more soup. Hold one another close. Wrestle with oppression. Rage some more. Take a break. Weep some more. Take a nap. Love and love and love. Make choices. Rest. Love.
You know, I just realized many of you know, but we didn't mention it before, so I will welcome Reverend Sky Williams-Tao to our pulpit. Reverend Sky, so good to have you back. Reverend Sky grew up in this congregation and was ordained here, and we will be, we'll be preaching today about gender. Peyton, wrong song. No lyrics for this one. We'll do that at the end. No worries. So for this service, I went looking. I really wanted to find a piece of music by a transgender artist about gender that had a broad enough perspective, a big enough we, that I could sing it as a cisgender straight guy and have it make sense. And I found this song that I'm just totally in love with. It's called Book of Our Names by Ezra Furman. It was released a year ago. It was written for the television show Sex Education. Ezra says, Book of Our Names is a protest song intended for use by any movement for collective survival and freedom. And she reminds us that the book of the Bible, called Exodus in English, the one in which the Hebrews leave Egypt and escape slavery, in Hebrew is called the Book of Names. And Ezra suggests that the act of saying names out loud, of seeing individuals in their full, irreplaceable uniqueness, holds the seed of true liberation. So, here you go. I hope you enjoy. I want there to be a book of our names, none of them missing, none quite the same. None of us ashes, all of us flames, and I want us to read it aloud. I wanted to tell of our exile here in a cruel machinery, our bodies between the gears, and our world back home, just the ghost of a prayer. And I want us to read it aloud. I want us to read it aloud. And our names will be heard through prison walls, on wet city streets and international calls. And we'll read it until this whole empire falls. And then we will continue to read it. And the names will be the real ones that are ours, not the ones given us by the enemy powers, but the ones that we know in our bones and our bowels, and they'll be said out loud and repeated. Yes, I want there to be a book of our names, none of us missing, none exactly the same. None of us ashes, all of us flames, and I want us to read it aloud. I want us to read it aloud.
Thank you, Benji. If you asked me to describe my gender to you, there's a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is, I don't know. The long answer is, I still don't know. I was raised to be a girl, but I think me and girlhood got off on the wrong foot. When you're the tallest girl your age for your entire life, you quickly realize that you're very different from the other girls around you. As the great philosopher Taylor Swift, who is the same height as me, once said, sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm the monster on the hill. You're not thin enough to be a model, which is the acceptable occupation for a tall woman. You're not athletic enough to play basketball, but people will ask you about it for the rest of your life. The shoes for girls are too small, and the pants for girls are always an inch or two too short. You will never share clothes with your friends. You grow up doing theater, but it doesn't take you very long to realize that you're in a separate category of girl. You're never the ingenue. Instead, you're a mother, or the villain, or a man. You're just as talented as the other girls, but you realize it is unrealistic for an audience to perceive you as a princess or even a teenage girl. If you didn't fit metaphorically and physically into any of the boxes society makes for girls and for women, do you think you could really believe that you were one? I eventually realized that I had to throw away the boxes. There are some days where I say, I don't care what the box says. If I want you to see me as a girl, I'm gonna make you see me as a girl without any conditions. I'm gonna wear the 3-inch heels to my high school graduation, and I'm gonna mark that I only wanna play women on my audition sheet. There are other days where I don't care what the box says, you can't make me go in it. You don't make shoes in a women's 13? Then I'll find someone who does, and I don't care who they were meant for. I'll do what works for me, and I'm not gonna bend over backwards when I was set up to fail. When the set of guidelines you're supposed to follow just doesn't work, you kind of have to find your own path, which can be sacred in its own right, especially when you don't have anybody else to look to for advice because your mother is 5'1" somehow. It really is a journey of discovering how to exist. You'll eventually get older and you'll meet other women who took the same journey and share your tips and tricks. I met a 6-foot-tall girl who recommended buying jeans from Tractor Supply Company. They make clothes for people that are big and tall, was her explanation. But for the most part, it's just you and a hope you'll find a way to make the box fit you, not the other way around.
Yes. So, as I was writing the sermon for today, I kept having a bunch of sort of tangential thoughts to gender. It sort of would go this way, and then over here, and over here. And I kept trying to line them up in this logical way, and it didn't work. So, today, the sermon is going to be a little bit of a circle or a little bit of a spiral as I try and tangent our way through our time together. And the first tangent for me is, Benji mentioned, I grew up here. I was ordained here roughly a year ago, last March. And so being in this space just holds a lot of memories for me. It feels like there's ghosts running around, not in a bad way, but all of the memories of the people that I've been. One of the memories that comes up for me today in particular was being 14 in my first year of high school and being part of a coming out day service that the youth group put together. And that was one of my first times being part of putting together a service and speaking in front of people and just getting to celebrate being queer. It makes me think of, although it wasn't in this space, going to Camp Devonville Pines in Southern California, which is a UU camp, and meeting a trans person there for the first time. And I will say, I fangirled real hard over the stories that he wrote there. The nostalgia tangent, I think of that one as. The next tangent that kept coming up as I thought about this topic was the pronoun question. The pronoun question. And for me, the pronoun question is really this series of questions that just lives in most of my relationships, which is, so at what point do I talk about my pronouns? What point do I bring that up? How do I talk about it? Do I want to have conversations about how that person feels about gender and feels about my gender and feels about they, them pronouns? Then there's sort of the set of questions when I know that I use they, them pronouns, and I have heard them use the wrong pronouns, or for some folks who don't know that I use they, them pronouns and use the wrong pronouns, where I'm like, do I want to correct this? I have a feeling this is going to make us both uncomfortable. Is this worth interrupting this conversation that has absolutely nothing to do with gender to have that conversation? And again, do I want to have that conversation about what they think about my gender, my pronouns, those many conversations? And to be honest, I don't often have that conversation. I just kind of let it be. And I wonder about that sometimes, because I know that folks who had those conversations, whether that's about pronouns or about their own identities, is part of how I exist in the world and the way that I do. The pronoun question tangent. And then I sort of have this my own identity tangent around it. And for that, I wanted to connect back to my ordination. My friend, the almost Reverend Aaliyah Shinborough, they are now in fellowship with the National Unitarian Universalist Association and will be ordained this spring, and I'm really excited for them. But for my ordination, they wrote a gender prayer for me. And so this is a piece of that prayer they wrote. Sky, today is an invitation to deeper relationship, a call for each of us present to affirm your ministry and the impact you have in each of our lives. This invitation is a precious gift, an opportunity to witness you in your many aspects, your spirituality, your identities, your leadership. Through the coming blessing, we call into connection your trans and your spiritual identities. We call into the room all of those transgender trailblazers who came before and call to mind the many gender transgressors without whom you would not exist as a person and as a minister in the ways you do today. We honor you in the fullness and multiplicity of your experiences of gender and locate this moment within a continuum of trans ancestry, embodiment, and ministry. My own identity tangents. And moving through all of those, there is then the messy tangent, is what I call it. And for that one, I want to start with this quote that Reverend Casey Slack said in a service that I put together for Unitarian Universalist Justice Arizona, our state justice network for UUs. We put together a service that was sort of aimed specifically for trans folk. And Reverend Casey Slack, as part of their sermon for that, said this: "You're not required to make sense. You're not required to make sense." There's a part of my brain, a part of who I am, that really likes when things are lined up logically, that wants to put the things in the order and sort of see them be clear and linear and neat. And I will tell you, that is not the part of me that has been useful as I have been journeying through my gender or my spirituality. Instead, it's the part of me that gets comfortable with mess and with just letting things be what they are. So moving through that and moving back through nostalgia, I want to come back to the pronoun question. Because part of the pronoun question is the practice. I mess up pronouns all the time. I messed up my own pronouns. Like I feel like I'm at this point pretty good with they, them pronouns, and that's because I've used them a lot. I have friends who use them, I use them for myself, I've practiced. I'm still practicing for folks who use these or zim. I'm still practicing for folks who just use their name instead of any pronouns at all. It really is, and like, just to be like, it's not a thing where I arrive perfect and know all of the things, right? Practice it's a commitment. It's a thing where when I think about that person in my head, when I get it wrong, I'm like, oh, no, wait, this is it. So that when I say it to their face, I am less likely to say the wrong pronoun. That's how I practice. Yeah. Moving through pronoun question, moving back through my own identity, I want to come back to messiness. Because like I said, I have the part of me that loves tearing things apart and sort of studying the pieces. I was thinking about anatomy as a sort of way of looking at this, right? I think it's so cool to think about bones and then muscles and then the blood on top of them and the skin on top of that, all the little cells that make up our bodies. To pull apart all the little pieces that make up a body and to sort of look at them individually and how they work. And there is something that gets a little lost, I think, when you do that, which is the fullness of the body altogether, the person that inhabits that body. The joy of dance, the joy of living, the joy of, feeling vibrations that create singing, but that is something that is just singing, and the pure joy of that. Moving through all of those pieces, moving back through, brought me back to nostalgia. Like I said, it feels like there's the ghosts of all my past selves running around this sanctuary, running around this campus. And when I think about my past, I can often remember all the cringy things I've done. Remember all the ways that I've messed up or haven't been the person I wanted to be. And then I think about all my future selves where I will be exactly the person that I would like to be now. And I wanted to take some time just to honor my past ghosts, my past selves, and the fullness of who they were, and in celebrating their lives for exactly where they were, when they were, as they were. I want to honor and celebrate the yearnings and the worries that often make up the people I want to be. And through all of that, of course, I want to honor the person that I am right now, in the fullness and messiness and all of the things that that person is. And I also, want to open space for you all to honor yourselves as well. So moving through the tangents, through the spiral, going through nostalgia, pronoun question, I wanted to come back to my gender identity. And I was going back and forth about how much I actually wanted to say about my identity in this sermon. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. which is that I have 3 gender aspects that I think about when I think about my gender. And one is a female or woman aspect that is rooted in how I grew up, that is rooted deeply in feminism. There's a male or masculine aspect that I sometimes wrestle with because I have experienced some things because of patriarchy. And I keep coming back to it and finding something real and meaningful there for me. And there's the aspect of myself, the third aspect, that is neither of these things and more than these things, and really at home in that messy tangent, and is very, very non-binary. And it's these 3 together, the conversations between them, that constitute my gender. So moving through all of those pieces, all of the tangents, I want to take us to something like the center. And the center of this particular spiral for me is this really sacred space. The picture I have in my head is usually outside, usually next to a tree. A space where I just get to be, where I can let sort of all of these pieces just not be filling my head and filling my space, but just being there, being witnessed by the tree, by the space that I am in. Breathing in and out. And letting myself be in that sacred, sacred space of who I am. And then I take one more breath in, one more breath out, and I start the spiral all over again.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Sky. Good to have you here. So there's a lullaby in our hymnal about gender. It's by the UU minister and songwriter Fred Small. It's called Everything Possible. Its language may be binary, but its heart is wide open and inclusive. Please, I want to teach you the chorus for those who haven't sung it or haven't sung it recently. Here's the first line. Sing it after me. You can be anybody you want to be, try that. You can be anybody you want to be, and then you can love whomever you will. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads. You can travel any country where your heart leads. And know I will love you still. And know I will love you still. And then it goes on. The next line is, you can live by yourself. Try that. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Will be the love you leave behind when you're done. So I don't have time to teach you all the lyrics. The melody kind of goes all over the place for the verses, but that's the chorus. You'll notice when it comes up, and feel free to sing the whole thing with me. Feel free to stay seated or to stand. We've cleared off the table, leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I've told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. There are girls who grow up strong and bold. There are boys quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some follow behind, some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children, some never do. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you. Well, you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Thanks, everyone. Please be seated.
In a moment, we will have coffee hour, one online and one outside. But now is the time to greet one another. Please take a moment while we are still in the sanctuary to introduce yourself to new faces, say hello to old friends, and check in with your community members. Adult and children's activities will begin at noon in order to give people a chance to get something at coffee hour. Masks are optional, inside and outside. And our closing words for today are from Reverend Teresa Soto from the book Spilling the Light. They write, "I cannot prove to you that I am a person, but you can hold my hand, cool and dry, while we pray, or just breathe, ragged breaths catching on our aching ribs.